Next Tuesday, Lester Piggott celebrates his 50th birthday just a week after his final race in Britain. One person who knows him better than most is the BBC's voice of racing, Peter O'Sullivan.
My first memory of Lester Piggott was of a rather moon-faced lad with the expression of a willful cherub, possibly a little more willful than angelic. Looking back through my cuttings for 1950, I was already apologizing to my readers for repetitive reference to the brilliance of this 14-year-old apprentice, his style, a blend of subtlety and sometimes dangerously fierce intensity. In the early 50s, after the flat season's opening meeting at Lincoln, Lester and I would drive to Aintree, pausing en route for already a very, very frugal dinner. It is a fact of Lester Piggott's remarkable racing life that if he had not begun his sustained battle with the scales at such a tender age, he could never have conditioned his 5 feet 7.5-inch frame to operate with lasting brilliance at 21 pounds below his bodily norm. Lester has always communicated better with horses than humans. Constant dieting probably isolated him further. But alone, he is an engaging companion with a subtle sense of humor. Looking to the future, it'll be intriguing to see how he adapts his intuitive understanding of horses to training. Looking back, he can reflect on one racing certainty. No British-born jockey ever achieved such richly deserved international acclaim. How we shall miss the name L. Piggott in the Runners and Riders Board. Still, the indelible image of that unique style will remain forever.
A man at work, a private man at a lonely private job. More than likely, this is the very best horseman riding by there has ever been. For well over a quarter of a century, he has entranced the very spirit of his nation.
But here comes Lester Piggott on Nijinsky. Nijinsky coming to take it up from here and racing up towards the line. It's a miss for Lester Piggott. Nijinsky got clear. Nijinsky's the winner.
Forecast, 3 pounds.
Only one thing actually sets Lester Piggott apart, an ability to make very fast racehorses run just that little bit faster. And the bigger the race, the faster they go.
100 yards to run in the Derby. The Minstrel coming to challenge Hotgrove. And it's Lester Piggott and William Carlton. The Minstrel on the near side, Hotgrove on the north side. And the Minstrel wins it from Hotgrove, dashing from his third.
Lester Piggott has won the Epsom Derby an unprecedented 9 times. He rode his first professional winner in 1948, when Harry Truman was president, Clement Attlee Prime Minister, when Don Bradman was still batting, and Joe Louis was champion of the world. Since then, this man, who goes about his business with the eerie detachment and icy calm of a gunfighter, has weighed in around the world, ever seeming aloof to the fact that his saddlebags are bulging with public esteem and the banknotes that invariably accompany it. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. Is that, in fact, what made him climb onto a horse in the first place?
I didn't have any option. No, I never thought of anything else, really.
Nor did his forebears. John Day was training racehorses 2 centuries ago. John Barham Day rode 16 classic winners. Kate Day married Tom Cannon, who was first past the post over 1,500 times. And in 1903, Tom Cannon's daughter married Ernest Piggott, who won the Grand National twice on Perthlin. They settled in the very heart of England at Letcombe Regis on the Berkshire Downs. Naturally, Ernie Piggott's son Keith also rode horses, and married Iris of the racing family Rickaby. They sired Lester, who was born on November the 5th, 1935. Dad was pleased he had a boy.
In the wartime, I used to go around the gymkhanas and ride at them, you know. I wasn't exceptional because I could never get up on a horse. And I used to have these obstacle races, I could never get back on the ponies.
After the Second World War, the family moved the few miles into Lambourne, and Keith climbed down from the saddle and started training horses at South Bank Stables.
When we came to Lambourne, then he used to lead the what jumpers I had over the hurdles on his ponies, and he used to work very well. And as Lester looked like making a jockey, I thought I'd have to get some flat races. And we started him riding when he was 12 in races. His first ride in apprentice race at Salisbury. The first winner he rode was on the chase at Haydock Park towards the end of the season.
The budding genius was officially still at school, but his studies were increasingly unacademic. And as more winners followed, the core of the country boy's life was shifting. From being just one of the lads at his father's stables, he was fast becoming a public prodigy.
Warwick Racecourse, and into the paddock comes 14-year-old Lester Piggott, who hopes to beat the Frank Wotton record of 55 winners before he's 15. In this race, he's riding no light and wins after a struggle by a length. But is it true, Lester, that you're after a more famous record, that of Gordon Richards?
I do hope so, yes.
And for father and son, the end of a perfect day at the races.
But not everyone was enchanted with youth. Some were upset at the grown-up ferocity with which the boy drove his horses to the post.
Around that time, you know, I did get suspended a few times, odd days and that, you know, and I think every time something happened, they used to think it was me that did it.
The most celebrated rumpus caused him to be banned from his father's stables. It followed the first of his victories in the Epsom Derby on Never Say Die in 1954. A few weeks later, on the same horse at Ascot, the 18-year-old Piggott challenged the sport's then master, Sir Gordon Richards.
Now, if anybody comes up on the inside, he's got no chance of getting out of trouble, and he's got no chance of getting through. Well, this is where Lester came. Now, he's only got one thing. He's got to push me out of the way, edge me out of the way. Well, I was going as well as him, and he'd got no chance of doing that. And anyway, you're not supposed to do it because it is against the rules.
You could see that I was going quite well and was beginning to, you know, I was going to be a danger to him. And when he passed these horses on the outside of him, he came over a bit, just to make sure that, you know, I didn't get there, you know, and didn't have any room. But anyway, as it turned out, I got the blame for it, and I got suspended for 6 months.
I wonder today, if I was riding and I ran up into that pocket and Lester was on the outside, do you think he'd pull out for me?
Lester Piggott travels the world in his search for winners. The west coast of America, the very cathedral of the Consumer Society, where for an ordinary midweek meeting, the faithful flocked to genuflect to sport and the dollar, and to see Piggott race their champion, the midget maestro Willie Shoemaker.
Lester, well, he's probably got the best record of any rider living, riding in different countries other than his own.
I've ridden a winner or two in New York and Florida.